Good evening, speedrunning fans. Good evening, Super Metroid fans. We are here for the multi-category extension tournament. This is our backdoor bracket in a double elimination tournament. My name is Professor School. I am one of your co-commentators for the evening tonight for our matchup between BFrobber and susreime, who will be racing any percent all bosses. And I am joined here by my co-commentator, Glove. Glove, what's going on? How are you today?
I'm really good. I'm super excited to see this matchup. susreime and BFrobber are both two incredibly talented runners. Both of them seated below where they should be, susreime especially. But BFrobber, I believe, is one of our runners who, I believe BFrobber has a relatively low PB in one of the categories that brings him down.
That's true. I think it was just the one category. I'm taking a look at the sheet now. It looks like it was just max percent GT. Was that the big one? I think that may have been the big one.
Yeah.
BFrobber, they're clustered together with a bunch of other runners in Nintendo Power Percent, which is one of our categories. Also, maybe on the lower half of North Korea percent with a 117, but solid time 69%, 106, and all boss is a 56. So somewhere in that cluster of like seeds 7 to 15 or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so to give you a general idea of how these two runners ended up at this point in the bracket, uh, susreime took a loss in round 1 to Iron Rusty, and has since had to get through MM2 cartridge, MM2 NES cartridge to get here, which was not an easy matchup at all, and some really good games between the two of them. Whereas BFrobber lost in his first game to you, Professor School, and ended up here in the losers bracket through that.
Yeah, that's right. I'll say I prepared very seriously for that matchup. BFrobber obviously known for a lot of their really incredible skills that they bring to some of these extension categories and some of the really cool tech that they're able to show off. I think in particular, some of the stuff that was even shown off in our race together, Brainbuster and some of the other really cool, like almost, really glitchy strats that you don't get to see very often. And yeah, I was fortunate to come away with the win in that one. But this race is actually really important. We're here leaving Series Station. susreime selected their number one category in the previous race between these two runners, max percent GT code. And I actually didn't see the race, but I know it didn't really go at all to plan to susreime. BFrobber ended up winning, but with I think a 1 hour 58, which is a fairly slow time for these race conditions. So I think it must have been some sort of a disaster that set in that caused that did not finish.
It was it was tragic. I was on comms for that one. So for max percent GT, susreime got 0 tank lava dive. He actually went that route. And BFrobber took a death to Fantoon that set him back to the start of the game.
Oh no!
And then susreime goes through the whole game, gets to the end, and I don't know if you saw susreime's very first max percent GT race, but he actually he usually unequips both suits going in. However, this time he did keep gravity on. And then when he was doing stand-up, he didn't damage down enough because he didn't account for gravity.
Oh no! Oh gosh, that
Yeah.
is just the worst. It just happens again and again and again in these tournaments that you get to the very end and something just goes wonky and sideways with stand up. And gosh, it just happened to me. I was doing a max percent GT run just a few minutes before we came on comms, and I found a new way to die in the pre-Mother Brain 2 cutscene. So it's really just never ending. It really, really is. And it just goes to show you how volatile this game can be, especially in a race setting when you just have that one shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and speaking of volatile, Any percent all bosses is really interesting to me because it's easily the most unassuming category in the whole tournament. You know, it's basically just any percent with a few extra minutes of time due to using plasma on a few bosses.
Mhm.
Um, However, that means because it is any percent, it is the category everybody in this tournament knows. You know, you're hard pressed to meet a Super Metroid speedrunner who's run the game for a long time and has never played any percent. So everybody knows it, which means everybody's pushing to their limits more than other categories, and you just have to step on the gas the whole time throughout. And I think that can make it really volatile. It's, you know, there's not like, oh, here's the zero tank moment, but they're still dying to chain damage on Dragon and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, Glove, because at first glance it does seem like a very vanilla category compared to some of the madness that can ensue, right? In some of these extension categories, obviously, North Korea percent, suitless meridian, all of these, backwards boss orders, the zero tank, and other very difficult aspects of the routing options that you can have in max percent. But I don't know. I tend to agree with you. Chain damage on Dragon, it's still not an easy fight. You usually don't have a lot of resources. There is a green gate glitch that most of our runners who are really posting the top times are going to be using to get into the GT code area or into the GT area. And, if you're up against a really tough runner and you think you can't afford that 15 seconds for a save and you go for it, that's it. You got one shot there, right? So I agree with you. I think there's a lot more built into this category than maybe it's given credit for.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming back to the match at hand, we see susreime has pulled ahead more than you would normally expect to at this stage in the game. BFrobber had a couple hiccups, but honestly, susreime's movement has just been super on point. BFrobber also unfortunately took a hit, I think off of a gamer in Parlor, or no, it might have been the Ripper, and so he had to just rely on RNG for BT drops, which is never where you want to be.
No, not at all. Not at all. And of course, susreime just doing absolutely everything here. We see some swag bomb jumps at the end of the BT fight. We see right side Alcatraz, even though there was just a little bit of a hiccup there. We see arm pumping down Terminator. Did look like a little jump there. I'm not sure if susreime was trying to adjust to something that they decided to do, or if they thought that this was max percent GT for a second and were trying to avoid that tank. But that's the other thing about this tournament, right, Glove, is that gosh, there's so much to remember when you're learning to prep 5 categories and you can get any one of them. I mean, it's really a nightmare. There's so much to do and to understand and learn about this tournament.
Yeah. Oh, and susreime unfortunately fell victim to losing a missile just
Oof.
right into the wall. That's the danger with the shooting a diagonal missile. Is, you know, it's one of those frame saver strats, and if you can get used to it, it's very reliable. But everybody messes it up sometimes. Like you're
That's
just
right.
adding a little, like that tiny bit more variance in your route.
Now, unfortunately, Stream did have full energy there, so was guaranteed a missile drop from that gamer, and is still, as a result, maintaining about a room lead here over BFrobber. Chat asking about runners' preferences. I believe that BFrobber runs a KPDR route here, Crade first. I actually do not know. susreime is one of these really interesting runners who is incredibly talented. Has so many skills in this game, but really came into this tournament as the overwhelming favorite for GT Max races, but perhaps did not have as many posted times in some of the other categories.
Yeah, absolutely. susreime is always sort of that wild card. Uh, you know, we know he's going to put out some incredible movement. He's going to show us some wild strats we've never seen before. uh, Hard to say what he'll do.
Yeah, folks, do yourself a favor if you have not gone and watched one of these susreime runs. My personal opinion is that his GT Max PB that's posted right now is an absolute masterpiece of speed running. That is, I think he said, several years in the making, and is absolutely worth a look from anyone.
Yeah, I know. His Twitch page says he started running Super Metroid in 2017, and I think it's been almost entirely GT Max.
Holy smokes, that's incredible. Oh, very nice red tower climb there from Stream. Beautiful. So, well, there's our answer. We have a really big route divergence here, and as a result, it's going to be pretty difficult to know exactly how far apart these runners are, with Stream going up red tower to get PBs and go to wrecked ship, and BFrobber going down into the warehouse to face Kraid for their first boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I believe the generally accepted sentiment is that a Fantoon first type route saves like 20 seconds, ideally. So not nearly as big of a gap as standard any percent.
Right, because you're forced to reroute for some of those other mini
Mhm.
bosses that you wouldn't normally be tackling.
Yeah, I know. Like PDRK is an option as well. Like getting early plasma can help. You were mentioning having to route in some of those mini bosses, and so that's where plasma is really nice. You don't. If you can make the GT fight shorter, of course you're going to want to do that.
And the croc fight, for what it's worth, right? I mean, there's
Oh,
nothing worse
absolutely.
than a croc fight without plasma. That's the sole reason why I decided to learn the harder late croc 100%, because I just did not want to deal with that early croc fight.
All right, second try HBJ there from susreime. Nice. And BFrobber unfortunately misses Kraid's stand up, or excuse me, gets Kraid's stand up, misses Kraid quick kill. He's still got 2 supers, so it's not dire straits. But he's gonna have to supplement this with something.
Yeah, it does have the charge beam at least. This
Hmm.
is not the most unforgiving category, but certainly anytime that you get that Kraid DLC, you really want to be able to avoid that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm somebody, I don't really do resets in runs, but when I'm just doing PB attempts, I will reset a Kraid quick kill. Not even as much of the time loss as just it's like once you're running something that's pretty close to an optimal type route, if you miss Kraid quick kill, as we saw there, often you just don't have the ammo to make it happen. Like thankfully, BFrobber messed it up in such a way that he was still walking away with 2 supers.
Yeah, sometimes that muscle memory kicks in, or you're already in the process of firing off those supers. You come in with 4, you go get ready to use them, and you have suddenly, a pea shot, a pea shooter, and a charge beam, and no supers left for the rest of that fight. And it can be, you can be +1 on your PB, +1 minute in a real quick hurry.
Yeah, so clean first Doppler, followed by a really short air Doppler. Like that second Doppler on Fantoon showed just how good susreime's first Doppler was. Because
Yeah, and
he
I think that means he got 7 in on the first one, because I'm pretty sure that was just 4 missiles and a super on that last one.
that was incredible.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful 2-round fight with the on-screen kill at the end, and
Mhm.
and that's a good kill time too for Fantoon. That's really really nice for Stream. Of course, Stream needs the win in this race to force a game 3 after having that unfortunate turn of events in Turian. And I would say, at least for now, despite the fact that we won't really know how our runners are pairing up until the very late stages of this, I think we can at least give the early advantage to Stream with that really beautiful Fantoon fight and entry and direct ship, compared to a little bit of the hiccups with Kraid for BFrobber. Obviously, very early in the run, though.
Mhm. Yeah, an interesting menuing quirk here. Susreime does the auto deselect thing with power bombs. Just saves himself 1 extra. I believe he has item select on X, so like 1 extra X input in a room that already has pretty high APM.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Anytime that I can do that, and this is actually something that Stream and I have talked about, anytime that you can either preset an item deselect, or if you can jump through a door instead of trying to time it on the transition. That is something that I will do, and susreime specifically said that that's something that he will do as well, just in order to make life a little bit easier, even if it might be at the expense of a handful of frames.
Yeah, BFrobber misses the charge shot towards King Cac. Very nice recovery, though. Bubble Mountain is one of those rooms where there's a million ways to do it, and none of them are good.
That's great. Glove, I love that.
Like I'm not even kidding. I am of the personal belief that if you have high jump boots, right side Bubble Mountain is the easiest method. I know other people don't agree with that, but I've tried the charge shot. I've tried the pseudo screw just left. I don't find anything any easier than the right side Bubble Mountain.
Yeah, and chat immediately reacting almost more strongly to your notion about right side Bubble Mountain than to the fact that susreime is sitting on 4 HP after bowling.
Oh god.
Well, you know what? I obviously susreime needs to be very careful here. Just really needs to be careful for the crabs is more than anything. Sitting on 4 energy. Should be okay though. Looks like maybe even gonna missile to be absolutely certain. Oh no, I see. Yeah, that's a nice strat there, missiling the key hunter.
Yeah,
Oh, and
so
yeah,
the
I like this power bomb strat. Yeah,
mhm.
absolutely. In a race setting, there's just no reason for something wacky to happen with your pseudo screw, for to break spin or something, and then all of a sudden, you're 15 minutes behind your opponent in a must-win situation.
So critically, those crabs were how BFrobber took his death in the previous GT Max race.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, he did exactly as you said. His screw attack, it landed a little bit short, and the crab just walked right into him.
Yeah, that is just one of those rooms, especially if you take that third hit coming out of bowling, either in GT Max, where you wind up with usually 9 HP if you were on full, or here, you have the extra tank, but you're not necessarily coming in with full HP in sort of a Fantoon first route. It's really scary. It's really scary. And I mean, what does it cost susreime there? A second and a half to drop the power bomb and guarantee 2 big health drops. I think it's totally worth it.
Yeah. So susreime is not going PDRK. We'll see if he goes for a more standard PKRD type route, maybe, or a PRKD.
Oh yeah, there you go. There's our answer. Going away from warehouse and doing a nice job. A little bit of a scary moment, I thought, for me there. I didn't know what susreime was doing with the glass tube, but coming back and then not soft locking is always a nice thing to see in a race situation.
Yep, Beefy going for Alpha Spark here. Nice. It's interesting. I've seen a couple different ways that people do Alpha Spark. Some people will shoot and then wait a bit and just spark horizontally from a crouching position.
Oh, interesting. Band's pointing out in chat that this could still be PDKR with susreime simply going down to Upper Norfair to collect some of these major items before heading into Meridia.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, you would want to clear out Norfair before going into Dragon.
That's right. Yeah, that's just my lack of experience here with this particular routing.
Yeah, same. I don't think I've ever seen a proper PDKR route. So really, PDKR is all about getting that plasma beam. Plasma. It's something that we maybe don't talk a lot about, just how much of a difference it can make. For different categories, it becomes more or less worth it to pick up. Obviously, if you're going for something like PRKD, it's not gonna. Plasma doesn't pay for itself just on Mother Brain. But really, as soon as you're doing Lower Norfair and Turian, that plasma beam becomes worthwhile.
susreime going with the mock ball here, the full speed mock ball, which I think Behemoth may have actually done for a while because of the difficulty of arm pumping without a mapped angle down button. I think it ends up being pretty close if you're not going to arm pump super aggressively. Yeah, I actually don't think it really loses that much time.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see because I believe. Oh no, BFrobber unfortunately loses that spark. My understanding is that like mock ball from full speed beats basically all but perfect arm pumping if you give it enough of a runway to ignore the initial time loss from the jump. I don't know. I'm bad at button mashing personally, so my arm pumping is washed. I like Super Metroid because generally we don't have to do a ton of just like super button mashing type stuff. Even our input intensive stuff in this game, I think, has a pretty nice flow in it.
Yeah, and I think most of the top runners will probably tell you similarly that even for arm pumping, you really need a rhythm to it. If you are just purely mashing, you actually can end up not saving as much time as you would if you had a slower but cleaner rhythm.
Yeah.
Ooh, the fast pattern, just jumping on BFrobber there, and unprepared, unfortunately, just missing the window for this X Factor. Let's see if they can recover. Oh no.
Yeah. This Fantoon fight has unfortunately lost BFrobber quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice backup there for the X Factor, and now should be able to finish this fight off. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I mean, the only problem here now is a low 20-minute kill time in this route is not actually that bad, but susreime has just been playing very, very well so far. And as chat pointed out correctly, that's right, susreime went down and picked up some of these major items from a trip to Upper Norfair, and now moving into Meridia and going towards Botwoon and Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Health and ammo look good. Was full before that spark. 10 supers, 4 power bombs. This should be no problem whatsoever for susreime to fly through this section of the game.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess if you're doing Dragon first, then it only makes sense to do Kraid prior to Ridley, since you get that nice super refill and you don't have a Botwoon to use it on.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very, very nice. Beautifully executed Botwoon fight there from susreime.
Absolutely. Botwoon being as stingy as ever. 1 super and 1 PB.
Well, I have to say the story so far for this any percent all bosses race between susreime and BFrobber really has been the boss fights, as the name of the category would indicate. susreime is just a few steps ahead on all of these boss fights. So we haven't seen, other than Fantoon now, any of the same boss fights for the most part, but the ones that we are seeing are, I would say, tip in the favor of susreime in all cases.
Yeah, and that was, what was that? Was that a 5 jump full halfy?
Yeah, it looked like it. I tend to do that myself. I find it a little bit more comfy to get up there, even though it does require one extra set of inputs.
Yeah, I like the 4 jump personally, but I've played around with the 5 jump and I understand the appeal of it. Like, with 4 jumps, I haven't really found a great setup to make all 4 jumps be roughly the same amount of length. So usually
I think
I try
that's
to make
really
the
the
first
issue,
one
yeah.
longer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Look at these short charges. Beautiful.
And susreime goes for the rain dance setup. That didn't look incredible.
No, I think 2 of those particles went high. Let's see.
Mm,
Yeah, that looks like a pretty orange belly. So we got a super missile supplement and then 2 missiles, which I don't think is enough to make up for our particles. And so let's
yeah,
see how
Susreime's in a
close.
bad way with his health though. He can't afford to spark here.
Ooh. Okay, are we getting?
Oh wow.
Oh boy. That was fortunate to leave that grab without any slaps from Dragon.
Yeah, and I admire Susreime going for the spike suit even with that health. I believe you want roughly 150 health to be able to do reverse full halfy. But with this health, I would have left him decently low. And like things can happen in plasma. Like plasma room can be really dangerous if you mess it up.
So that's the first real hiccup that we've seen so far from Stream, not only in the boss fights, but I would say for the entire category so far. But overall, I would say still a pretty nice run. Missing that Womple jump, but now making his way back up to the Plasma Beam so we can cook through the rest of the bosses from here on out. I guess in this situation, if I was running Kraid first, I'd be worried about my super count if it was 2 leaving Dragon. But I guess as you correctly pointed out, you do get that the free refill in Kraid's warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Although Susreime opting to take a couple extra farms there in West Cack Alley, so I think perhaps was also a little bit unhappy with just 2 supers.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. It's possible that that's just muscle memory. You know, like sometimes it's better to be super consistent and only have 1 strat for each room than be like, all right, here's how I'll do Cack Alley if I don't need to farm or whatever. But I'm not really sure where Susreime would use that many extra supers prior to Kraid.
Oof, some of these pirates just being really unfriendly here in this plasma room. As you pointed out, this whole section can be a little bit dangerous if you're really running low on health. So maybe it's a better thing that extra 120 to 140 or so HP did not get used up in that Womple Spark.
Yeah, BFrobber unfortunately just misses 1 super. It's interesting. He's one of, I would say, relatively few runners who don't go for the default strat. I would imagine he just goes based on sound cue, since it didn't look like he was doing any sort of movement in that room.
Yeah, it's the stream also going for the sound cue setup on the left side. So one of those rare races where neither one of the runners is going for the D factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
Ooh,
it
that was
often
6 wall jumps. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure that was 6. I don't know.
that was something. Oh, Bress is saying 5. Okay, yeah, I think that was 6.
No, it's okay. Bands put Bress in his place.
Yeah, every time I think my wall jumping has finally gotten decent, I watch one of the veterans of the game do wall jumping, and it's just like blows me away. Which makes sense, you know, if you were around in like 2013 or whatever, they didn't know about spike suit, so it makes sense they would spend all their time practicing wall jump instead of tricks that they weren't aware of or harder room strats that they hadn't come up with yet.
That's right. Now, so this is interesting because we got the more traditional setup here, not the rain dance setup, but the more traditional spark setup here. Very similar result for BFrobber.
That
Oh,
was some scary chain damage.
yeah, it was. Fortunately, looks just fine, and the spike suit.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't. Oh, that hurts.
But again, maybe this is one of those situations where sitting on, I don't think there's only 2 health drops there from Dragon. Maybe this is just one of those places where you'd really rather not have that 120 to 30 HP gone from the Womple Spark. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like looking at that health, BFrobber would have had to go a little bit further if he wanted to get the full breadth across the room, and his health would have been extremely low. So it's
Yeah.
possible he just decided it wasn't worth it and got rid of the spike suit and style. And Wapple jump only like 5.5 seconds slower, I believe.
Yeah, it's a really nicely executed Womple jump there. I think it's about you can get a sub 10-second room there with Womple jump, but I think typically it's pretty standard to get like a 10-2 or something, which is still 2 seconds faster than anything else that you do without a spike suit.
Oh, susreime unfortunately bonks there. In my opinion, yeah, he was going for what's in my opinion maybe the coolest strat to get into ice, where you just don't get blue echoes.
Yeah, that space jump strat most recently shown off in the grind that Zost was doing, bringing down that KPDR old route time. And BFrobber, by the way, doing some really nice. That strat goes way back. That D boost actually out of Kazuya's room is something that I saw for the first time in Hoda Ruby's 2008 world record
Oh
from
wow.
14 years ago. That is a really, really nice strat.
Yeah, Hoda Ruby's 08 record is really something to behold.
All right, and here you're starting to see some of the more bizarre routing that comes into this Fantoon first, where we're going to have to make our way down into the Croc lair. Fortunately, with Plasma and Ice, this should be a single one-shot fight. There it is.
Yeah, I believe from this point onward, susreime and BFrobber are on the same route. I don't think there will be any discrepancies. Well, BFrobber doesn't have to do Kraid, so once BFrobber hits Norfair Elevator, we'll have a pretty good idea of how far ahead susreime is.
BFrobber, of course, still does need to pick up the Ice Beam, and then we'll see whether... well, I was going to say whether or not they take the north or south route, but that's completely inaccurate because that's the wrong category. BFrobber has to go down to Croc.
Yeah. I don't think I know anybody who loves North Route quite that much.
No, I mean, what just happened in my brain is exactly what happens in this tournament when you're trying to balance so many categories and you're wondering, wait, where am I supposed to go? What am I doing at this point? I mean, in my last race, I turned Varia off in any percent all bosses, and I almost
No.
didn't turn it back on.
Yeah, I
turned
that.
I turned it back on with like seconds to spare. Yeah, so this is exactly what happens when you're trying to remember all these different routes. It can be very difficult.
Yeah, I've been trying to get my NP percent to somewhere reasonable, and my goodness, it takes all of my willpower to not go into early supers. Like I had a run that went so far as to go through the door.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
and having 5 fewer missiles there hurts you a lot more than you might think.
It does. There's a couple sections right there in Nintendo Power, right? It's not getting early supers, and then it's not going straight to Kraid. You actually go down and pick up high jump first.
Yeah. And then various times where you have to be like, okay, which business center entrance do I actually want? Got speed booster.
Business
Don't
Center
be
is
way
the absolute worst. I think Duck has pointed this out on commentary. I've pointed this out on commentary. Business Center is the absolute worst. It is, you do it differently every time you go into it in every single category. There must be 8 or 10 different Business Center strats highlighted in this tournament.
What was that from susreime? That was incredible. The short charge into a temp blue, that was so cool.
Yeah, really pretty stuff. Is he really going to time this? Oh, yeah. I don't even know. I mean, there are so many timing methods to getting that extra early shot in on GT. I don't know what that was. That was a short hop into a bounce ball, and somehow it all just worked out.
Yeah.
All right, so that's a 33:20 kill time there on GT. So I think we're going to start to get an idea here of where our runners are in relationship to one another. But this does bode well so far for susreime with regards to forcing a game 3, certainly.
Yeah, and I believe at this point, Game 3 would be a Nintendo Power %.
Yeah, that's right. So we've raced all bosses here. We raced max percent GT code. In this particular race, 69% was vetoed by susreime, and I believe it was NK percent that was vetoed by BFrobber in game 1. Is that right?
Yes, tragically taken from us too soon.
Yeah, you and Kev both now in chat probably lamenting the loss of another potential North Korea percent run.
Yeah. I've seen my fair share of this tournament though. I think it's actually pretty interesting how it's sort of played out. Where I feel like a lot of the people coming into this tournament who had like lower times were more like fans of NK and really wanted to run NK.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think like a lot of the higher seeds aren't really a fan of the extra variance it adds.
That's certainly been my strategy as a higher seed. I actually really like the category, and it's been a fun introduction to what will be my next big major grind, which is RBO. But as far as a race situation and strategic planning, I mean, I hate to deny the audience a really fun show, but the North Korea percent is just one of those categories where anything can happen. There's so many choke points, and if you're the higher seed, I just don't think it's prudent unless you're absolutely certain about that category to go into it against a lower seed.
Yeah, interesting strat there from BFrobber going for a blue fireball type strat. I don't know, maybe any time you get blue space jump, it's a blue fireball. But he didn't have the spring ball to fully execute it. There aren't that many people, I think, who will forego the green gate glitch. Although I think the green gate glitch isn't tremendously faster. Like going the quote unquote intended route to GT is faster than you might think.
Yeah, I was timing this for 69% as a race safety. I would have to look at my spreadsheet, but it does end up costing you somewhere in the neighborhood of like 30 to 45 seconds, depending on whether you're picking up items or not. And that's what I would need to check. I certainly faster than going for green gate after a save and having to reset.
Yeah.
It's a very pretty Norfair so far from susreime. We saw a YOLO jump in Amphitheater. We saw a really elegantly demonstrated Kraid fight. And even though the hiccup here in Wasteland, we've seen some really, really great stuff displayed.
Yeah, this room right here with the 3 key hunters ends up being quite cozy when you have both screw attack and plasma. No manipulation needed. It's very nice compared to some other categories or routes where you might only be going through here with Spazer.
So looks like it's I don't remember the exact time, but it's a little bit more than 2 minutes and not quite 2.5 that separated our runners at GT. So susreime really in the driver's seat here with the opportunity to force a decisive game 3, but still has to remember to go a couple places, and maybe not as such a hardcore any percent runner. The desire in this case to just go straight to G4 will not be there.
Yeah, big love to our buddy Spore Spawn. Spore Spawn's one of those fights where it's, I would say, pretty easy to do it correctly, but if you do mess it up, you know, you're taking another cycle, which I think is something obscene like 18 seconds time loss.
Yeah, you get 4 extra swings across the room for every one of those cycles. And Spore Spawn, they take their time. They only get so very many few opportunities to show up in Super Metroid races. So, given the opportunity, Spore Spawn takes their sweet time. And if this does actually end up going to a third game, at least based on the standings right now, that is where we think we might be headed. We will see a whole different kind of Spore Spawn in that Nintendo Power category. That is actually one of the things. I think it was one of the first matchups in the tournament. Was the Susreime? Was it Nevdi? No, who did Susreime play in round 1?
Rusty.
Rusty, yeah. I mean, and just executed. I believe it was a 2-round fight. I mean, it's the sort of stuff that you have to pull off to have just missiles coming into that Spore Spawn fight. You know, we talk about a 2-round being a kind of a disaster if you have plasma, but what a huge success it can be when you execute that fight very well, when you are just coming in there with a power suit and some missiles.
So Susreime just beautifully executed what is, in my opinion, one of the most underappreciated movement areas in the whole game, is bottom to top pink Bryn. Susreime started out with the stupid mock ball, and then just beautiful down grabs throughout. And wow, Susreime really timed that one well.
Yeah, very nicely done. Pre-opening the super door, of course, as intended, you're not supposed to have super missiles until after the Spore Spawn fight, and we do not need to wait for that full death animation. Once that plasma shot hits and the death animation starts, Spore Spawn is dead, and Susreime is on to G4. Oh, and look at that,
Yeah.
even delaying that last press of the dash button to make sure not to fall down and say hello to the decor on the way by.
Yeah, that's super cool. I personally like going for the strat where you space jump into a mock ball. However, I believe that delayed dash is faster. It's so scary though.
Yeah, it is optimal, but it is in fact quite scary. I will agree with you on that one. Because when it goes wrong, gosh, that is a long, long way down on the stream. Oh my goodness. I mean, that is a thing of beauty right there. You saw that entry into the G4 hallway there. Holy smokes. Opening up just in time to get that super missile off and immediately morphing back through the door. 41:25 or so entry time into G4, so we'll get a sense of what the gap is here. But Susreime really doesn't need to take any risks. Fortunately, already picked up that safety 4th energy tank down in Croc. It's pretty much free, right? You're just paying the 6.5, 7 seconds for the item fanfare while you wait for Croc's ridiculously long death cutscene. And a good race safety to take for sure.
Yeah, something interesting I actually learned about that ridiculously long death cutscene for Croc, or well, what happens right before it, is Croc doesn't move backwards if he's off screen. You actually do have to walk alongside Croc, or he'll just stand at the edge of the screen forever, walking backwards, so still quote unquote taking damage, but staying in place.
Yeah,
wow,
I had that
what a
happen to me.
Metroid Room 1.
Oh my goodness. And let's see, is 2 going to go aggressive here? No. Being conservative with the super count, I think that's a wise decision.
Perfect room 3. Like, that was textbook.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better unless you have Spring Ball. The missile and ammo count looks very, very good.
Yep, perfect
And
ammo.
just to be safe, I like the notion of using those missiles there. Even having 20 instead of 15, it's just, I think, a prudent decision to go for that missile kill on those final Metroid 4 room.
Yeah, susreime has no reason to take unnecessary risks here. Like I would applaud a save before Mother Brain even. Oh no. So it looked. Yeah, I guess susreime just jumped a little bit too high there.
Well, that actually may have been an attempt at a 4-jump skip using space jump, which is something that was introduced a few years ago, or maybe more than a few years ago now. Oh no, okay, just in time there on that one round from BFrobber on Spore Spawn. But yeah, this is actually something that Zost was maining in his most recent return to Old Route. It's a pretty wacky setup, and it's really, really tight, but you can actually do a 4-jump there when you have space jump. You can actually even do 3 with a left side screen setup, which was recently introduced by, oh gosh, who was it? Cot Power? I think Cot Power posted a really stupid setup to get a 3-jump using space jump, but it's insanely risky and totally not worth the 70 frames that you save.
Yeah, when I baby skip, I like to jump through and shoot out every single block.
Oh, did we get a Kojak Super there? Let's make sure we're okay. 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 I think there was one Kojak Super there.
Yeah,
Normally
there had
with
to have been.
yeah, because there was just one missile left at the end. Fortunately, susreime makes it through without any issue. And just needs to avoid murder beams here, or excuse me, ketchup here in this final phase of the Mother Brain 2 fight, and has about almost 3-minute advantage here. So really, it's
Oh,
just a matter of
holy
surviving.
crap!
Oh wow, that was a really fast back and forth on that onion ring and ketchup.
So to answer a question in chat, Kojak Super just refers to a super that doesn't actually hit anything, like just goes into the wall or whatever.
It hits the wall. It only hits one thing, and that thing is the wall, and it feels bad.
Yeah.
Hey, that Croc E-Tank just saved that race for Stream, given that ridiculous onion ring ketchup pattern that he received in that very feisty Mother Brain 2 fight.
Shoutouts to safety strats. Like yeah, I mean, anytime you can pick up safeties, like that E-Tank effectively cost a fanfare. I think that's very reasonable. There are very few races that will be won or lost on the back of 6 2/3 seconds.
Yeah, and just like that, Stream looks to be closing in on what is going to be a very good time. We're probably looking at, I don't think a 48 is possible here. I think it'll probably be a low 49, but it's going to be a very, very good any percent all boss this time.
Mm-hmm.
My queue is normally roughly 3 minutes from the baby getting hit by the rainbow beam. Or excuse me, the second rainbow beam about to hit Samus, and the baby grabs, but I didn't quite see where that fell. We'll see here. Yeah, probably. Well, I don't know. Maybe a 48 still is possible.
Yeah, I've given up on guessing those kinds of things long ago, personally. I'm always wrong.
It's just one missed shot there on that Mother Brain fight in that third phase. Really, really nicely done by susreime.
Nice skip from BFrobber. A little bit scary there at the end, but gets it.
Oh yeah, this definitely has 48 potential. Nice morph, unmorph from Escape Room 1 into 2 there, saving about 40 frames or so. It's actually pretty substantial because you don't have to bonk and land on that platform. And nice getting that door check here, and Screw makes this room just really, really comfy.
Yeah, I mean, even if you are taking... Oh, that door bonk sucks.
Mm.
Yeah, like, even if you are taking a route that does... Oh, no!
Oh, no! Oh, boy.
Yeah, even if you're taking a route that does a pause, some people won't take off Screw just because it's really good for the escape. Oh, clean parlor.
Wow, that was really, really pretty. Picture perfect stuff. All right, well, we are not getting a 48.
Yeah, susreime is a known animal saver.
I thought maybe we might get a swag save here with the short charge and then Shine Spark out of the room. That's a really nice one.
Oh no, susreime loves the animals. He wouldn't do that.
No, it's not the fake out necessarily. You can actually do it. Shoot open the bottom right, save the animals, and then Shine Spark back through full way.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I thought you were talking about the boomerang, which
And
is
with
a strat
that,
I can only dream of doing. Yeah.
susreime finishes in first place with an official time of 49 minutes and 20 seconds. A really, really nice time with all the troubles in in the climb and an animal save. An absolutely stellar run for susreime, and most importantly for him, forcing a pivotal and decisive Game 3 in a winner-takes-all, loser goes home redemption bracket matchup in our double elimination Super Metroid multi-category extension tournament.
GG.
We do have the schedule set up for these runners who have agreed to go back to back, and so we expect that we will be closing down things here just temporarily as we get the runners ready for their third and final race. But we will stick with this one until the end. BFrobber obviously still finishing this one out. But stay tuned. Game 3 will be coming up immediately following the conclusion of this race.
Yeah. So let's see. That time of 49:20 would put susreime at 9th place on the leaderboard. And of the 8 people above him, one, Mr. Guy Average, is in this tournament. So incredible showing from him.
I am hyped for this this third race coming up. You're going to be able to hang and stay on comms with me, Glove?
Yep.
Fantastic. Looking forward to that one. I think maybe because we have 2 back-to-back races here, it makes sense for efficiency. We can bring in our runners after the decisive game for commentary, or for an interview. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's often how it works out.
Nice use of the iframes there from BFrobber, having already turned off his screw attack. Does a nice job getting into this escape room 4 here and using those iframes to go through that pirate. Now we'll be finishing up. Let's see a little bit more luck with the spark through climb, hopefully. Yeah, there we go. Nice. And this is going to be a 52-minute race here. This is a very good any percent time for BFrobber.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah, GG to BFrobber coming into this tournament with an any percent all bosses time of 56:14, folks. And you just saw a 52:48. I cannot remember if there was a better time posted in an earlier round of the tournament by BFrobber, but that is a really, really solid time and an incredible improvement since the start of this tournament, it's one of the things we see so often in these tournaments, and I love it. I really, really love seeing people get excited about these tournaments, grind down these categories, find new strats, and just sort of enrich the community as a whole. So GG to BFrobber on a really, really well-run race.
GG.
Oh, and actually, we can ask him about this later after the third matchup. But checking the race time chat, susreime actually saying that's a 50-second PB,
Wow.
and that includes that climb and the animal save. So that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean his PB saves the animals, so any PB he has will include that. Yeah, really, and just incredible time from him.
Checking the race schedule, it actually does look like susreime is confirming that the original plan was for the tiebreaker race to be closer to midnight Eastern, which is a little under an hour from now. We will sign off here in a moment, and we will go ahead and talk, figure out exactly what's going on. But it will be sooner rather than later, this third race, and it will be happening tonight. So stay tuned there, folks.